All right, then, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Tour Chat. Today, I've got Jack with me to talk about all things Genesis Invitational, from Max Homa, Tony Finau, and Tiger Woods. We'll then give our picks for this week, which is the Concession, the WGC at the Concession, and hopefully we can get a winner this week. Let's get into it. Right, so Genesis Invitational, possibly the best tournament of the year so far. We had the highs and lows that you get at any major tournament, and the course was set up like a major as well. Max Homa won in probably the most incredible fashion we've seen this year in a playoff with Tony Finau, who he didn't choke because he shot a 64 in the final round, but it was still tough to watch. Jack, talk me through the tournament. I would say it's the best tournament of 2021 so far. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely had everything we were looking for. I think there's been a couple like that actually that you could put in that same bracket where it's an exciting final day where, you're looking at sort of 4 or 5 players that could win it. In terms of, the way it ended, it was definitely one of the most exciting in my opinion. It was a really fun playoff to watch. Some massive highs and lows. You thought Homa was going to win it at the last hole on the 18th hole where he missed that putt, and you just thought, I just couldn't believe it. He'd been striking the ball so cleanly all day. Got to the 18th. Finau looked like, the 18th it's not the easiest of holes. It's not the hardest of holes. So Finau was obviously very good quality with his approach shot. Left it short in the rough. Didn't even give himself a chance at birdieing it. And then when Homa put it to 3 feet, I just thought, that's game, set, and match. But yeah, missed the putt, and you thought, okay, Finau's got a chance. He's finally going to end that drought. And then the tee shot, obviously, you stuck it right by the tree. Homa, we're all thinking. You were texting each other, thinking, right, Finau's done it. You had money on him as well. We thought he's finally going to do it. Gets up to the ball. He's got a lot more room than you thought. It's an absolutely fantastic shot. Finau misses his putt, and Homa eventually goes on to win it the next. But like you said, I think it's important to not dwell on the fact this wasn't a Finau choke. I saw a lot of people on Twitter, Finau's lost again, and he didn't lose that situation. He'll be very disappointed not to take advantage of the playoff. But he shot 7 under par in the final round. It was brilliant. It's not like he was leading by 2. He didn't have a 54-hole lead like he's done in the past. He really climbed the leaderboard, put himself in a position to give himself a chance. And unfortunately, again, just couldn't get the job done. But I think it is coming for him. It's hard to know. He doesn't look. He's obviously disappointed, and you can see it's hurting him. But again, it's another second place finish. He's playing absolutely fantastic golf. He's took home another $1 million. He's going to be feeling all right in a few days, and keeps playing like this and keeps racking up that money. He's going to go down as potentially the most consistent PGA Tour player of all time, even if he doesn't win again. It's crazy to think about, but he's doing so well.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well. I think it's a really good point. That's what you said, is that he didn't choke. It's another second place finish, another runner-up, 8 since his last win. It's now 38 top 10s, which now racks up about $20 million in prize money, which, to be honest, someone getting $20 million in prize money since 2016 and getting that much hate on Twitter, I'd take that. I think every single person watching him play would probably take that. He didn't choke, so 64 is his lowest final round finish to being in contention. Any times he's had a 54-hole lead, he's always shot between 68 and 72. So it hasn't been like blowout finishes. It's just been, he's been steady and someone else has overtaken him. He played well, played unbelievably well. His last hole, there was a bit of nerves there on regulation. You see that shot into 18, 143 yards, pitching wedge, 20 yards short in a position you don't want to be. But he seemed in good spirits. And for Max Homa to win, a person that I will say I bet on every single week in 2021, apart from this week. He's always been about 70-1. He was 60-1 this week. And I thought, no way, he's beating DJ. And he beat DJ. So it was a bit annoying in that way, but I'm really happy to see Max win. He's an absolute personality on Twitter and on social media. He's been on No Laying Up as well. And you can see he's one of the good guys. So I'm unbelievably happy to see him win. And the tournament didn't just stop there in terms of its news as well. We had, as a DJ, faltering a little bit, a lot of conversation about how Riviera should be maybe the major setup like the US Open. But the final round, we did have some interesting topics as well about Tiger Woods, the tournament host. He was on air for about, not as long as we actually thought he was going to be. It was about 10 minutes just to talk with Jim Nantz on Golf Channel and Sky Sports. But he didn't sound or look particularly good. Now, here at GolfMagic, I don't want to disrespect Tiger at all. He is arguably the greatest of all time, and I will always think he is the greatest sportsman of all time for what he's done mentally and physically. But we should touch on this a little bit, because that Tiger that we saw on air, Jack, wasn't the Tiger that we're used to seeing either out on the course or on interviews, was it?
Not at all. I think when the news broke that he'd had another surgery, it was it was made to seem like it wasn't that big of a deal. You know, it said, oh, he'll be back, and he's missing a couple of events. You know, he'll be back soon. You know, it was another surgery. It's a major deal. You know, it takes a lot out of it, especially someone who's had that many surgeries and is of that age now. And yeah, like you said, he just didn't look himself at all. He looked shattered. He looked tired, and I don't think it was someone who even believed himself that he's going to be ready for the Masters either. You know, I feel like when he was sort of almost dodging questions about it, and you know, will you be back for this? Will you be back for that? He didn't know, and he said kept saying it was very much dependent on what his doctors said, what his surgeon said, what his therapist said. You know, not what he said. You know, the old Tiger would be like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be playing the Masters. I'll be doing this. I'll be doing that. He didn't really know. You know, and I feel like he's not sure. And he mentioned that the only club he touched was his putter.
Yeah.
You know, and his putters are now the same length as his sandwich or something like that. And
Yeah.
you think, you know, it's 6 years to go or something until the Masters, and the only club you've been able to pick up is your putter. It's not looking good for him at all, I don't think.
No, it's really quite upsetting to see from someone who all fans idolise Tiger. I don't care what you say in terms of what's happened over him for the last decade. Everyone looks up to him, think he's one of the greatest sportsmen of all time, and it's not nice to see him like that. And from my personal experience who's had some injuries, you know how you feel. He's saying he relies on the doctor. First of all, your doctor will probably tell you after a few weeks, even if you're going through rehab, you've got a phase. This man's had 5 back surgeries, and they're asking about that Masters. We're not seeing him in the Masters. I bet good money on that. I would be surprised if we actually see Tiger more than once or twice this year. The way in which he talks, he was more focused, and I think rightfully so. He seems more focused onto his son or Charlie's game rather than himself. He says he's enjoying watching the golf with Charlie, playing golf with him, just watching him improve his game. And if you're a man who's had 5 back surgeries, who's struggling to chip, who can't swing a golf club right now, and you've got a man who is got an inspirational son, focus on that. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't do anything else. I think that's what he's going to do, because although he will still probably play every now and again, I don't think he's going to be anywhere near the place he was. And to be honest, a person who's had 5 back surgeries, what would you do? Would you do the same? Right, so on to our picks for this week. This week is a WGC tournament. It's the WGC Workday Championship at the Concession, which is in Florida. This tournament is usually at Mexico, a course that me and Jack were actually very fond of because it always makes for some interesting holes, a lot of hole outs, but they've changed it to Florida, which means we're going in a little bit blind, which is never actually too good for us. If you look at our track record, Jack's got debt collectors coming very soon, and I'm going into about the neutral zone. So we do need a win this week. So we've played it a little bit safer. Jack, talk me through your picks this week.
Yeah, like you said, Alex, it's a shame that it's not in Mexico. Fantastic tournament out there, but just as my luck can't get any worse with these picks, I've now got to basically take a bit of a stab in the dark with it being at a Concession. So I'm going to go for £10 on Tyrrell Hatton at 20-1. Just a phenomenal golfer, and proving that he's, you know, one of the best in the world now and one of Europe's main superstars when it's going to come to that Ryder Cup in September. So Tyrrell Hatton to win 20-1, and I'm going to go with a little each way bet. I really liked Cameron Smith's performance this week, so I think I'm going to go pick the Australian there. He's at 60-1 at the moment, so I'm going £5 each way on him. Very
nice. I think both very good picks. Tyrrell was always a bit overvalued because he's 5th in the world. I know he doesn't play that much on the PGA Tour, but European Tour he always does well. And Cameron Smith, obviously one of the only player to shoot under 70 in 4 rounds at the Masters and not win, so you know he's got the talent there. I've gone for one safe one. Actually, you know what? 2 safe ones, because I've gone for, first of all, Victor Hovland at 25-1. I'm going to put just £10 on him to win. He didn't really get talked about that much last week, but he'd slide into the top 10 pretty easily. And I think, although I don't know too much about the course, he does like it in Florida. So I think 25-1, a little bit overvalued. And then I was talking to Jack just before the call, talking about our tips, and I wanted to go for someone who was high value. And Sebastian Munoz, I have picked a few times last year, and he did a very good run of form just towards the FedEx Cup Championships. He's 175-1 this week, and I was thinking, do I do £5 each way, or I can get a market where I can just pick top 20? And if you get top 20, I'd get him at 8-1. I will confirm the odds after this video, but I'm going to put him at the top 20, 8-1, just £10. So one of those returns 80 quid. I think that's pretty decent because I don't think he's going to win. They've got a lot of heavyweights in there, but a high odds person, I think that's a pretty decent bet. It's a bit of a cheeky one, but I think Again,
Yeah, I didn't know I was allowed to do that for this, but I'll
you,
let it
you
slide.
can go back and you can do that for Cameron Smith if you want.
No, I'll stick.
Stick with your
I'll
picks.
bear it in mind next time. But when Cyril's going to win, so I'll take my 200 quid there.
Or maybe in a few weeks' time when you're £100 down, you can just put £20 on a DJ top 10 and you can just make 40 quid. Easy bet. Right, guys, so that is the end of this week's Tour Chat. If you guys did enjoy this episode, make sure you leave a like down below. And if you guys are new around here, hit that subscribe button too to keep up to date with all our Tour Chats, equipment reviews, and much, much more to help you guys with your game all of 2021. We'll see you guys at the next video.